and when your stomach is growling, you have little time for a flower bed, however pretty it might be. Oh, he had had it up to here with these high valleys and the taciturn, poor, embittered people who survived here. Why wasn't his life like that of other seed dealers who pursued their trade in better regions? And why couldn't he count any wealthy farmers among his customers, or any nurseries or rich gardeners? Why had his father left him no more than this miserable territory in Switzerland in which to peddle his seeds? He grasped his money bag, the weight of which helped him keep a lid on that last question before envy and anger and hate could overwhelm him. All the others could go to hell. Today he was king. He'd done his business well today, yes, sir. He wanted to go home. To Groningen, his hometown, a village at the foot of the Swabian Mountains, hundreds of miles from this dismal spot on a map. He was hurrying now, shouldering the seed sack that contained his flower seeds and bulbs. Bulbs! Why had he even bothered hauling them all this way? He raised his hat, taking his leave. "Where do you think you'll get to on foot today? You'll never make it down to the bottom of the valley," said one of the card players, who looked at him with a sour expression. In his mind, Friedhelm traced the roads he would have to cover. The man was right. It was a good 20 miles to the next valley, with only 2 or 3 villages in between. But what other choice did he have? The last thing he wanted to do was spend the night in that wretched place. He could practically guarantee that he'd end up with his head bashed in, or drugged and robbed, or... "I'm in a hurry. I want to be home for Christmas." "You weren't in no hurry earlier," grumbled one of the men. "That's right. You had plenty of time to win the shirts off our backs," snarled another. "Easy," the proprietor said to the men. "If you want to play, you have to be able to lose, right?" He nodded to Friedhelm, who returned the gesture. Friedhelm knew the muffled growl in the belly only too well, the feeling that comes only when you realize that you have risked everything in the game. The euphoria of the moment abates, the concentration lapses, and the bewilderment at one's own stupidity sets in. Lady Luck is a whore. She'll sleep with whomever she pleases, Friedhelm thought. He also knew that such well-intentioned aphorisms were no consolation to a losing man. He kept his mouth shut. The proprietor accompanied him to the door. He cast a glance back into the room, and then he beckoned Friedhelm closer. A contorted grin crossed the proprietor's face. "I know how you can get much farther today. You can drive down with old Urshan Burley. He'll get you down into the valley tonight. If you like, I'll have a word. I'm sure he'll take you along." There was something sly in the man's eyes. Friedhelm hesitated. From previous gambling nights, he knew Urshan Burley as a singular drunkard and cantankerous to boot. Friedhelm had been glad the man was not there that evening, and he was not thrilled at the idea of riding with him, especially as he remembered the man's worn-out old nag and the wheels of his wagon, with half of their spokes broken. But a long way on bad wheels was better than nowhere on foot. "Good. I'll wait for Urshan Burley," Friedhelm said. He was about to turn back into the tavern when the proprietor grabbed him roughly by the arm. "Don't," he whispered. "You know what those fellows are like. They'll begrudge a man the butter on his bread, let alone the pile you've won today. Better they don't set eyes on you again." Friedhelm glanced over the man's shoulder into the barroom. The card players were talking among themselves, leaning close. Though he felt no desire to rejoin them, he wasn't eager to trudge up the steep hill to Urshan Burley's farm either. But what choice did he have? "Then I'll be on my way," he said with a sigh, and turned his chin toward where he knew the man's hut to be. The proprietor shook his head. "You don't need to slog up there. I've got a better idea." An hour later,